Hello everyone, welcome back with another video. In this video, we'll be discussing about what is generative AI. So before discussing about generative AI, first of all, let me introduce some of the real world application of the generative AI you are using in your day-to-day life. So I think you know about ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Meta Llama, right? So these are the application you are using in your day-to-day life. I hope everyone has used ChatGPT at least, right? So inside ChatGPT, what we can perform, we can give any kinds of prompt. We can do the conversation, we can do the summarization, we can generate the content, we can generate the code, we can do the text summarization, any kinds of task we can perform in the ChatGPT, right? So similar wise, Google has developed their own product called Gemini. Okay, Google Gemini. So with the help of Google Gemini, also we can perform the same things. The things actually we perform usually in our ChatGPT. So the same thing we can perform with the help of Meta Llama 2 as well. That means ChatGPT is developed by OpenAI, Google Gemini is developed by Google, and Llama is developed by Meta. Okay, Meta AI, that means Facebook. So all the tech giants companies are working on generative AI. Day by day, they are improving this particular generative AI. They are bringing actually different large language model, and they are launching different application. Okay, for the users. Nowadays, all the companies are using generative AI to implement their product. So currently in the market, generative AI having more popularity. So that's why you have to know what is generative AI exactly, how generative AI works. And definitely if you want to work in the current job market, you have to know about this generative AI. You have to learn about this generative AI. Okay, this is the idea. See, all the application I showed you here like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Meta Llama. So they are using something called large language model in the backend. Okay, with the help of large language model, they are able to perform these are the operation. Now, first of all, let's try to understand what is generative AI exactly. See, generative AI is nothing but generative AI generates new data based on training samples. Generative model can generate image, text, audio, video, and so on data as an output. So I think you have already worked with machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, and so on, right? So there you used to use something called discriminative model. And what is discriminative model? Based on some input, actually, it will predict the output of that particular data. Okay, so this was actually discriminative model. And to train the discriminative model, actually we used to use something called label data. That means whenever we used to prepare the data for the training, we used to prepare the, let's say, input data as well as the output data. That means you have to pass the X data and Y data. That means input and output both. Okay, and if you give input and output both, it will learn the relationship between input and output. It will learn the pattern from the data. Then it will able to predict something on top of the test data. So that was the idea in the discriminative model. That means in the prediction model, right? But generative models are different. Okay, so generative models can generate a new data based on the training samples. So here you will be giving some training sample which is called unstructured data. So based on this training sample data, it will try to generate some new data. That means inside Gen AI, whenever you are giving any kinds of unstructured data as an input, your generative model will try to understand this unstructured data. It will learn the pattern from the unstructured data, and it will try to generate something from that particular sample you are giving. Okay, this is the idea. And output can be anything. It can be text, it can be audios, it can be videos, and so on. Okay, as I already told you, inside generative AI, we not only work with the text, but also we also work with the image, videos, audios, and so on. Okay, so all the unstructured data can be used inside generative AI. This is the idea. So that's why I've written generative AI is a very huge topic. Inside generative AI, actually we are having generative image model as well as the generative language model. That means you can work with the languages, that means text. You can also work with the images, videos, okay, and audios. So there is another model you can consider, generative audio model. But at the end, you are converting this audio to the text representation, that means language representation. That's why I haven't mentioned this audio model separately. Okay, this is the idea, because audio is nothing but it's a frequency, and from the frequency we can convert to the textual representation. Okay, this is the idea. There are so many API you will get. Even Google has the API. You can let's say convert speech to text. Okay, with the help of speech to text, you can easily convert any kinds of audio to textual representation. Okay, this is the idea. That means what is generative AI? Generative AI is nothing but it generates new data based on the training sample you are giving. And generative model can generate any kinds of output, whether it can be image, it can be text, or it can be audios. Okay, now let me tell you how they got the idea, like how the generative model can work. See, this idea had taken from real life only. Let's say if I give you 10 different cat book. Okay, let's say if I give you 10 different cats book, and if I tell you just try to read all the 10 different cat book. Let's say you have read all the 10 different cat books. Now if I'm asking anything related cats, okay, you will be able to give me the answer because you have already studied about the cats. Like 10 different books I have given, and this was the enough data for you, right, to learn about the cats. So that's why if I'm asking anything related to the cats, you will be able to give me the response. So here you have become one cat model. Okay, you have become one cat model, and that is why if I'm giving any kinds of question, you will be able to give me the response. Okay, so similar concept applied in the generative AI also. So they implemented one model called generative model. In the generative model, they feed actually tons of data. That means huge amount of data they trained, okay, that particular model, and then actually they were giving some kinds of question, and that particular model was able to give the response. Okay, this is the idea. That means here you are feeding tons of unstructured data, and your model is able to let's say learn the pattern from the unstructured data, and there would be a position your model will be able to capable enough to give any kinds of response, okay, based on the question you are asking. Now you can ask me why generative models are required. See, I can give you thousands reasons of the generative model requirement, but here I have listed down some of them. So the first thing you can consider, understand the complex pattern from the data, because nowadays you can see people are using unstructured data a lot. Unstructured data means it can be text data, it can be audio data, it can be videos data, right? So this is called actually unstructured data. And in today's world, actually people are using internet broadly, and in internet actually people are generating huge amount of unstructured data. Okay, they are using different social media, they are using different platform. So that's how actually they're generating tons of unstructured data. So that's why it's very hard to understand the pattern from these kinds of unstructured data without traditional machine learning model. Okay, so that's why this generative model comes into picture. So it can easily understand the complex pattern from these kinds of unstructured data. The second thing you can consider the content generation. That means your generative model can generate any kinds of content. It can generate code, it can generate, let's say, any kinds of story, it can generate any kinds of music, any kinds of videos. Now I think nowadays you have seen like there are so many applications came in the market. So if you give any kinds of prompt, it will generate the video for you, okay, the complete video for you. That means it is generating some content, okay, it is generating some content based on the prompt you are giving. And that's how for the content creator also it is becoming one of the very used tool, okay, for their content generation and all. Let's say you are a blog writer. Now you don't need to write the blog from scratch. So what you can do, you can just pass the topic and your model will generate the blog for you. And what you can do, you can just modify this particular blog with respect to your requirement, and you can publish, okay, anywhere. You can also generate any kinds of videos, you can also generate any kinds of reels, okay. Everything is possible nowadays with the help of these generative models. Okay, so that is why content generation is one of the very important, let's say, features inside generative models. Okay, I can talk about. Now the third thing you can consider, build powerful application. As I already told you, we are already using tons of powerful application in our day-to-day life, like ChatGPT, Gemini, okay, then Llama. So different actually powerful application we are using in our day-to-day life. And just try to think about when we didn't have these kinds of application, we had to complete lots of work actually manually. But nowadays we are having these kinds of powerful application. Now you can do any kinds of work actually in a few seconds. Okay, it is possible. Let's say if I give you one example, as a developer, whenever let's say you are getting any kinds of error, okay, from your, let's say, application, what you can do, you can copy that error and you can ask through the ChatGPT. ChatGPT will give you the solution, okay, how we can solve it. But previously when we didn't have any kind of ChatGPT, what we used to do, we used to search that particular error inside Google. We used to open the Stack Overflow and we used to see lots of, let's say, solution. Then we used to solve that particular, let's say, error. And nowadays, actually, we are using this kinds of application and it is actually saving lots of our time. So we don't have to spend actually lots of time to fix any kinds of bugs. In a few seconds, actually, it is possible nowadays if we are using this kinds of powerful generative AI based application. Okay, this is the idea. Those who have already studied about artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, maybe you have already seen this kinds of Venn diagram. Okay, this is the Venn diagram of our AI, the complete AI. Now you can see machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. Deep learning is the subset of machine learning. And now here you can see generative AI is the subset of deep learning. Okay, it is the subset of deep learning. That means machine learning is the subset of artificial intelligence. Deep learning is the subset of machine learning, and generative AI is the subset of deep learning. Okay, this is the complete Venn diagram of the complete artificial intelligence. Okay, I hope it is clear. Now let's try to see the difference between discriminative model and generative model. You can see discriminative model is nothing but it's just a prediction model. Let's say here you have given two input. One is the cat image, another is the dog image. What your discriminative model will do, it will try to predict whether it's a cat image or whether it's a dog image. That means you are trying to do some prediction here. I think you already use this kinds of model in your deep learning. Let's say whenever you used to perform something called image classification. There we had different model like ResNet 50, Inception V3, right? MobileNet, VGC16. So with the help of this particular model, we can perform the image classification task. On the other hand, generative model can take actually any kinds of sample data, any kinds of noise data, and from that particular noise data, it will generate a complete new image for you. Okay, new data for you. Now let's say here you are passing one noise data. Noise data means it can be any kinds of unstructured data. And what generative model will do, it will try to understand the pattern. Okay, it will try to understand the pattern from these kinds of data. Okay, then it will generate a new data for you, new data point for you. This is the idea. Okay, this is the idea of the generative model. See, I have kept another example here. Let's say, so here we are using discriminative model to classify the music type. You can see here we are giving actually different music, rock, classical, and romantic. So here your discriminative model, that means your discriminator deep learning model will try to classify whether it's a rock music, whether it's a classical music, or whether it's a romantic music. On the other hand, generative model, what it will do, you will just give some music sample, okay, and generative model will try to understand the pattern. It will generate a complete new music for you. Maybe you have already heard of AI has created music, AI has created songs, AI has written story. How? That's how actually they're using something called generative model. They're actually feeding lots of training samples, okay, and this model is learning and it is generating a new content, okay, with respect to the data they are giving. This is the idea of the generative model and the discriminative model. I hope now it is clear. Now, if I discuss a little bit low level, like how things are working here, see, maybe you have heard of something called supervised learning. Okay, in supervised learning, what we do, we give the X data as well as the Y data. That means input and output. And here we try to find the relationship between our input and output. Okay, this is called actually supervised learning. And whatever actually, let's say, discrete model actually we're using, it is called actually supervised learning. On the other hand, we are having another learning called unsupervised learning. In the unsupervised learning, what we used to perform, we used to perform something called clustering technique. Let's say here we are only giving the X data, that means the input data. And what my model will try to do, it will try to make a cluster. Let's say this is one cluster, this is another cluster, this is another cluster. That's how it is separated out my data. Okay, that's how it will find out the relationship between the data. Okay, this is the idea. Now you can consider this unsupervised learning as a generative model. So generative model will also work in the same way. So instead of actually finding the relationship, what it will try to do, it will try to make a cluster. Okay, it will try to make a cluster from the unstructured data actually will be feeding. This is the actually low level actually understanding I'm giving you how things are working here. But on top of that, they have added some more technique to actually build these kinds of generative AI model. Okay, this is the idea. So in summary, actually you can see generative AI is a subset of deep learning, and generative models are trained on huge amount of data, as I already told you. While training the generative model, we don't need to provide any kinds of label data. We only give the unstructured input data, because whenever you are working with huge amount of data, it's not possible to label the data. Okay, that's why you are giving the unstructured data as an input to the generative model. So here you can see in generative AI, we give the unstructured data to the large language model for the training purpose. And whatever things I explained so far, you can see what your discriminative model will do. It will try to actually predict whether it's a dog image or whether it's a cat image, okay, by finding the relationship. On the other hand, your generative model will try to make a cluster. Okay, let's say this is a cat cluster, this is a dog cluster. Okay, then with the help of that, it will able to generate a new content from you. I think you have heard of something called GAN, the generative adversarial neural network. Okay, so GAN is also called generative model. Okay, because here you will be giving noise data, and from the noise data itself, it will able to generate a new content. Okay, new data. This is the idea of the GANs. So far I told you about generative model, but what exactly this generative model? See, generative model is nothing but it's a large language model, which is also called LLM. See, a large language model is nothing but it's a foundational machine learning model that uses a deep learning algorithm to process and understand the natural language. These models are trained on massive amount of text data to learn patterns and entity relationships in a language. It can be also considered in a image data as well. Okay, not only text data, you can also use LLM for the image as well, because I told you we are having two kinds of model, generative language model, generative image model. Okay, so you can also use image data here, not only text data. And it is a language model which is responsible for performing tasks such as text to text generation, text to image generation, image to text generation. As I already told you, generative model can support actually all kinds of data. You can generate text to text, you can generate text to image, even you can also generate image to text. Okay, everything is possible with the help of this large language model nowadays. Okay, And we also call it as multi-model. That means you can perform multiple tasks here, not one specific task. You can perform multiple tasks like text to text, text to image, and image to text generation. Apart from that, you can perform some more tasks. Let's say you can perform language translation, you can perform text generation, you can perform, let's say, text classification, you can perform sentiment analysis, name entity recognition, all kinds of tasks you can perform with the help of only one model, and which is nothing but our large language model. Okay, and large language model is nothing but our generative model. Okay, this is the complete idea about our generative AI. I hope it is clear now. Now let's try to understand what makes LLM so powerful. As I already told you, in case of LLM, one model can be used for whole variety of the task. Okay, I told you now, text generation you can perform, chatbot you can perform, summarization you can perform, translation you can perform, code generation you can perform. That means whatever task actually you have inside the NLP, all the tasks you can perform with the help of one model, which is nothing but large language model. So that's why we call this LLM is so powerful, and that makes LLM so powerful, because in our traditional model, whatever model we used to use, that means the language model only, we can only perform one specific task. Let's say you want to do actually language translation. For language translation, you need to only train one language translation model. That model can't do the code generation, or let's say text summarization. That model can't perform. But if you're using large language model, you can perform all kinds of tasks with the help of one model only. Okay, so that's why LLM is so powerful, because of this particular idea. So as I already told you, if you're using your traditional actually language model, it can only perform one specific task at a time. Let's say you want to build a sentiment analysis. So one model you have to train for the sentiment analysis, which will only able to do the sentiment analysis, whether this particular, let's say, sentiment is positive, neutral, or negative. Let's say you want to perform language translation. You have to train another model for the language translation, and that model will be able to translate any kinds of text. Okay, that means you have created two separate model, okay, for two separate tasks. But if you are using large language model, you need to only train one specific model, okay, and that can perform multiple tasks. This is the idea of large language model. So let's see some of the large language models. So here you can see we are having Gemini, GPT, XLM, then we are having T5, Llama, Mistral, Falcon. Apart from that, there are so many large language models are available over the internet. I'm going to discuss, I'm going to show you each and everything. So here I just mentioned some of the large language models just to show you. But I will tell you how you can see all the large language models are available over the internet. Even I will also show you how you can access those models and how you can use those models to create your application. Okay, on top of it, everything I'll try to clarify. So yes, guys, this is the introduction of generative AI. Now I think you got the clear-cut idea about generative AI, like what exactly is generative AI. And inside generative AI, actually, what are the things are available and why it is actually mostly used technology inside any kinds of software product nowadays. And inside generative models, actually, what is uses? It is uses something called large language model. And not to worry, I'll discuss about large language model in detail, like how large language model works, and inside that, what are the architecture they're using. Everything I will try to clarify. So yes, this is the overview of generative AI. I hope you got it. So thank you for watching this video, and I will see you next time.